What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Play Sengoku Basara. So it looks like it's time for the final battle for Nohime, and it's Xavi for whatever reason. And again, I'd like to emphasize that during my test runs of the game, I rarely ever got an encounter against him, and now it seems like we're getting an encounter almost every time. Like 3 out of the 4 characters that I've ran through this game with for this Let's Play, we've all seemed to have fought him. At least I think it was 3. We'll see how it goes with Nobunaga, the last one. I'm pretty sure I've fought him then too. So we're going to switch over our secondary attack to the 4th, or not the 4th, it's like the 6th attack or something like that. The final one at least. And it's pretty powerful. I'd like to demonstrate it if I could. But it doesn't come without its risks, and it doesn't really last long enough to warrant you any kind of safety in a fight. So I still have the melee combo one in there too, which is pretty nice. It combos well with her ranged attacks. And unfortunately, though, this map doesn't really cater to Nohime's playstyle very well, because normally I can skip a lot of encounters and kind of just go straight for the boss or whatever unit is occupying the doors or the checkpoints. This is the new attack right here. It's kind of she kind of does a burst mode thing, almost like Brandon from Gungrave, as I was making the analogy before, which really makes me want to play Gungrave Overdose now. So we'll get around to that eventually, though. Hopefully within the next few months we'll be doing Gungrave Overdose. So this map, though, the way it works, I mean, you pretty much have to clear out all the enemies in an encounter. And actually my AI is doing a pretty good job of fighting these guys here. I'd like to demonstrate that on screen if I could. Let me see how long it takes for my AI guys to fight and kill this guy. Obviously, they're going to be severely handicapped on ultimate difficulty, but they're still pretty aggressive for the most part. Come on, I believe in you guys. Yeah, if this was, if these were the enemies, then that spear unit there, that halberd knight, the captain unit there, he would be basically everyone. Like, he would have that level of armor. So, interesting thing about Xavi, though, that I didn't seem to mention before is, well, this is just something that's happened since the beginning of the boss for Let's Play when we first demonstrated him on screen, I suppose. The panels that I do at various cons, usually about the Fate franchise, if anyone's familiar with that, we had a panel where we talked about, obviously, the go-to question of, you know, who would you like to see as a servant character, what particular person from history would you pull, and what reason, like how would they stat up, like what kind of abilities would they have. And I actually suggested that, as far as, you know, history goes, that St. Francis Xavier would actually make a pretty good servant, as far as, you know, having a lot of involved legend and all that, and that he could, you know, be several different classes. And everybody seemed to unanimously agree, but obviously I kind of thought of it on the spot. I didn't really have a lot of good reasons as to why that would be possible. The other ones that they had thought of for the sake of the panel were really well thought out, and they had a lot of intricacies behind them, and I'm sure I could come up with something for that if I really thought about it. But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there is a video on my channel that links to it. You can hear me I'm not actually on the stage for that one. I'm off to the side recording, so you can still hear my voice though. So yeah, as I've said before, you kind of have to get through each enemy encounter before you can move on to the next area with this map. And we've still got to fight the Xavi automatons, which are really annoying, as I said before, because they can kill you really fast, and unfortunately, they deal a lot of damage, and my little burst fire combo there is not that effective against him. I took a lot of damage there. But the great thing about them is, if they don't kill you from their extremely dangerous attacks, then chances are they'll drop a health pickup, so you can... they're either going to make you or break you as far as this level goes, because they really, they either kill you or they allow you to get a lot of your health back. Which is pretty rare for normal enemies to drop health pickups, but these guys almost always do. Yeah, screw all these bomb units. I'm going right past you guys and going straight for the captain, because I don't have time for all that crap. Yeah, Xavi's stage is infamous for having a lot of traps and environmental hazards in the terrain, like the spikes coming out of the walls here, or the giant spinny things back there with the bomb guys. But really, I've never really had much of it threaten me along my way. It's not really gotten my way at all. I'm just done with all of you guys. So the last character I intend to play as for this Let's Play is going to be Nobunaga himself. And he will probably have as many fights as Nohime. He always has one extra fight that the other characters don't have, and I'll explain what that is when we get to it. But he doesn't, I don't think he has the whole defend the castle fight, but he has another secondary fight that doesn't really fit into the main campaign there. And after that, test playing will begin on Sengoku Basara 2. And really, that game is very different from this one because it actually has a story mode for most characters. And the Conquest mode, which is what we're playing right now, still does exist in that game, but it's a lot different. So the story mode for Basara 2 is a lot more linear than the Conquest mode from this game. So if you guys want to see either one of those modes, or you prefer one over the other, just let me know. Now we've got to fight this ridiculous walker thing, and I really don't think, I know I fought it either in, no, it had to have been in Motochika's map, which I think is the first one we did as Nohime, and that one is interesting. I mean, this enemy, as I said before, it shoots arrows out of its side, it drops bombs on you, its footsteps can damage you. It's really kind of an annoying enemy. Oh, it has that pendulum that swings under it as well. But none of my secondary attacks are really all that good against it. I might try the burst mode thing and see if that works. I really don't know what else to call it. That's the closest analogy I have for it. But the melee combo thing I really don't think is going to do that much damage. But we'll give it a try. See whatever works here. With a doubt, I could always use the Basara attack, which didn't really do as much damage as I thought it would. Seems like this thing can shoot out arrows in pretty much every direction, though, so I gotta be careful about that. Oh, if I didn't say so before, we also have, I think we have the same weapon as the last video. I really am not sure if these are her ultimate weapons or not. I believe they are, but they deal fire and elemental damage, and they're pretty powerful right now. Alright. The only thing annoying about that encounter is the those horn units calling in for reinforcements. I dealt with them pretty much at the start of the fight, and it didn't really last long for them to cause a problem. And of course, every single map has to have a ninja core, even if it wouldn't be practical or historically accurate for that particular region to have one. Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about the melee attack with triangle there, where you do like a ground kick type of thing, and it's really kind of strangely elegant and powerful and kind of sexy at the same time. Not a lot of practical use for it though, and I really don't use air attacks with, well, I guess I do, because when you jump up in the air and shoot is a good way to deal a lot of damage, get a lot of shots off quicker, and avoid enemies on the ground. It's actually one of the techniques I use the most with her. I guess that's why I forgot to use the triangle attack with her. But again, not really a whole lot of instances to use it. I tried to use it during my test runs. It doesn't really become that effective until you get the melee combo secondary attack. Which really, these moves right here pretty much put her starting moves to shame for the most part. I mean, that kick was nice. I used the that launch maneuver that launches enemies up in the air mainly for finesse. It is a cool move, but the third-person lock-on thing was just kind of lame compared to these other moves. And it's a nice novelty, and it does vary up the gameplay a bit. But it just is not nearly as practical as these other moves I'm using now. Definitely a character whose gameplay changes significantly depending on what kind of setup you have. As much as I appreciate that. So here we are, we had to fight 2 more automatons there, and now we're going to have to fight several more as we finally take on Xavi himself. And he's surrounded by his typical goons. I was going to try to take all of them out before I aggroed him, but unfortunately I failed at that, so looks like it's going to be big guns against even bigger guns, unfortunately. We'll see who is left standing. And sadly, he has the bigger guns in this situation, but that doesn't mean he's better, especially when we have our Basara attack. I guess the best I can hope for now is to try to get as many other enemies caught up in the crossfire as possible. Obviously, there's 4 of the horn units somewhere throughout the map in the corners there by the chests. I don't know that you'll be lucky enough to get any health from those chests if you tried, but if you do run low, those Xavi automatons obviously are going to give you more. But I'm going to try not to get too low on health here because I'm really not a fan of dancing around this arena for hours and hours trying to fight this guy, which has been known to happen because I've gotten extremely low on health before and gotten in that situation like I got in with Motoshika, where I'm almost out of health and having to circle around the map over and over again, waiting for my Basara gauge to automatically refill just to be able to kill the guy, which is kind of something that, as much as it's not really that abusive, because if you're going to die, you're going to die. There's not really a whole lot that's going to stop you once you get low on health. Once you get low on health, you're pretty much screwed anyway if you can't get healing pickup anywhere. But I kind of would have thought they would have taken out the automatic Basara gauge fill on ultimate difficulty if you're low on health, but they don't for whatever reason. Like I said, not that it helps a whole lot or that it's even all that abusive. Man, I got some good damage in on there. Alright, the last part of the combo managed to kill the automaton. Like I said, Xavi is not really seen at all in the anime. He is shown in one brief scene where he's being killed essentially off-screen by Nobunaga. And that is his entire involvement in the anime. In Judge End, I think he does make a brief appearance with his other Xaviists, or whatever his cultist following is called. They're a weird lot, and I hope to avoid them as best possible, but I'm gonna groan whenever we get to Basara 3. But anyway, yeah, we see him briefly in Judge End, but I don't think he even says anything. And thankfully, because they were trying to actually keep the continuity in check as best they could for a series as ridiculous as this, they managed to keep Xavi and the Xaviists out of the last party, which is sort of the anime's adaptation of Basara 3, but it tries to keep within the same continuity. Yeah, that spiral dash attack there is definitely his most powerful move, and it's very difficult to dodge. So we're going to try to finish him off before we have to deal with it any longer, because we're sick of this guy. That dealt no damage. Come on. Hopefully this will get him. Go back to Spain where you came from. Still nothing? Alright. Come on, get up. Ha, I interrupted the attack that time. He's just going to keep spamming it over and over again. Not that we're any better about that. Alright, so we are finally done with Nohime, and that was quite a lot of fun. I like her character quite a bit as far as the game goes. The anime, I'm not really that fond of her screen time. But yeah, she's a great character to play as in the game. If you guys want to see anybody else before the Let's Play is over, let me know. If not, we're moving on to Nobunaga.
これにてあなた様は天下人にござりまする。